Hi, my name is Matthew Corey, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, Connecticut. I wanted to talk about the Tax Cuts Jobs Act. This is a great bill for American companies and a great bill for the American worker. This is going to incentivize companies to reinvest in this country and bring back jobs. Now, the biggest argument the Democrats have is corporations are going to buy back stock. Well, of course they are. And that's good for anybody's 401k, and that's good for U.S. corporations. But in a booming economy, companies do not hunker down. They grow and they want to expand. And the second part of this bill that really is, it should be enthusiastic for the American worker, is where businesses get to write off 100% deduction on the equipment they buy. So we already heard FedEx is going to buy a new fleet of trucks and some new planes. That's great for Boeing, and it's great for Pratt & Whitney, who builds those engines. It's also good for the American worker who builds those trucks, which happen to be good union jobs. So if you're a company like a construction company, a manufacturer, or you want to rehab your building, these are all good jobs for the American worker. Who builds tractors, harvesters, payloaders, bulldozers, dump trucks, tractor trailers? Union workers. This is great for the country. It's great for union jobs. Unfortunately, here in Connecticut, we're losing those type of jobs because of failed liberal policies. But we're going to bring them back. But let's hear a little snippet from Senator Murphy.
It seems like it's going to have such negative political consequences. How is this a rational vote for them, even with their donors being pushy?
Yeah, listen, great question. It doesn't seem to be rational. But I go back about 6 months. When we looked at the first few fundraising quarters in House races and Senate races across the country, something surprising happened. Democratic challengers were outraising House incumbents. Now, that rarely ever happens, and yet it was happening in dozens of races. And there were two reasons for that. One, Democratic enthusiasm is up. But two, there really is no low donor Republican base any longer.
Well, Senator Murphy, if you have connections to those big donors that are donating to the Republican Party, I would sure like their phone number, because I'm sure not getting that. But if you look at your PAC that's raised over $1 million from some of the largest corporations on Wall Street, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Travelers, Hartford Financials, and especially those big pharmaceutical companies that are causing the opioid epidemic has donated to your campaign also, sir. So I don't know where you're coming up with the big donors, but please share your phone number, because I'd like to have a little bit of that for a fair, competitive race. Let's listen on.
If your prediction is right and Democrats do take the House and Senate after the midterm elections, do you think that Democrats would try to overturn this bill?
Absolutely. We have to. I mean, given the assault that's occurring here, especially on the East and the West Coast, I would hope that we would take a look at the entirety of the bill. Listen, the corporations in my state, they wanted a corporate tax cut, but none of them were expecting to have the corporate tax rate dropped to 20%. They would have been thrilled if they got the tax rate below 30%.
Now, this is coming from a guy that went to law school for banking and real estate, and someone who couldn't even manage his own finances because he couldn't pay his mortgage. But while everybody else was suffering with mortgage payments, Senator Murphy took advantage of the connections he knew and got some mortgage forgiveness. So Senator Murphy must be living under a rock, because he doesn't understand Connecticut and how many U.S. corporations are leaving. We just lost GE to Massachusetts. Aetna moved to New York. There's actually Medtronics down in New Haven moved most of their corporation over to Ireland because of the corporate tax rate. So coming from a guy that doesn't understand finances, because we're losing jobs. So I don't know what he wants to return to the middle class, but I know I'd like to return jobs to the middle class, the ones that we lost. Let's hear a little more.
And so there is plenty of room to go back into this bill to make up some money and return it to the middle class and the working class that's losing out here. And of course, what we haven't talked about is the repeal of the individual mandate, which is going to increase everybody's premiums by 10% compounding every year, so that conveniently In year 7 of this bill, your premiums will have doubled and your standard deduction will have gone back to its previous levels.
Okay, Senator Murphy, our premium is already doubled, and I would enjoy if my insurance went back to the previous premiums that I was paying. And 13 million Americans are going to have a choice whether to buy insurance or whether not to buy insurance. And hopefully, if we can repeal this law and make more competitive in the free market system for insurance companies and get the regulators out of the way and at least be able to buy insurance across state lines, maybe we can afford insurance. I'm fighting for the working class in the state of Connecticut, and I'm fighting to bring jobs back. You have to at least run a business to understand what it is businesses need. My name is Matthew Corey, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate. Miley and myself would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or whatever holiday you celebrate this festive season, and please keep our brave military men and women in our thoughts and prayers, and anybody that's in harm's way. Thank you, and God bless you. And God bless America.